Hi, first grade research rock stars. It's Ms. Mackenzie here with a brief overview of the Gale database lesson for our National Parks research project, just in case you need a reteach or if there are any students who are absent. All right, so here we go. The objective by the end of class was for students to find at least one, if not a couple of articles from the Gale databases about your assigned national park. And then we were not only finding those articles in the databases, but we were syncing up Gale to our Google Drive and zipping the articles straight into our Google Drive. That is the beauty of the Gale databases. All right, so I asked students to begin by showing me where their national park was located. And I discovered that most of us are researching national parks along the West Coast or the western half of the United States, which makes sense because that's where we live. And then we asked students to kind of prime their brains about their research topics by filling in this language frame. Oftentimes with research, we don't know what we don't know. Like that's the whole point of doing a research project. So students just began to explore things they wanted to learn about their topic. Okay, then we got into the why, like what is a database and why do we even use them? So this is a pretty alarming statistic. Human beings, we only spend 8 seconds evaluating sources when we're looking at web content, okay? You can't truly evaluate whether something is reliable or credible or from an authoritative source or safe in 8 seconds, but that's what we're doing, okay? Human nature. And when you're looking at information on a cell phone or a tablet versus a desktop or a Chromebook, it looks completely different, okay? And there are nefarious organizations, countries, etc., that are literally producing dis and misinformation, malware, bad content, etc. And the number one way that they are duping us or fooling us is through our cell phone devices, okay? Because the information looks different. It's hard to figure out where the author is or the date of publication and all that jazz on a cell phone. So just something to be aware of. And all students are going to have information literacy, research, and media literacy lessons with me every single year until the day you graduate. And this will be a future lesson, media literacy. Okay, when you're evaluating online content with my secondary students, if they wanted to use a website for academic research writing, I would say you have to look at that website and evaluate it with this criteria and be able to say yes to 4 out of the 5 items. Is there a legitimate author, someone who has a degree in what it is they're writing about? Is the information unopinionated or unbiased? Is it coming from a credible web domain? Domain means what the website ends in, and some endings are more credible than others. Like when you see websites that end in .edu, that stands for an educational institution, and those are usually pretty good, right? Is there a date that the content was published, and was it even looked at by an editor? Okay, so you actually have to do a lot of work vetting a website or establishing that a website is actually credible and reliable and good. And you don't have to do all that work when you just get your sources from the databases. So that's one positive reason why we use the databases. Here's your rubric. So you're being graded on your information and factual content in multiple categories on your rubric. Just reminding you of that. And research is a circular process, okay? Sometimes we think it's linear. It's okay if you go back and forth around the circle. That's part of the research process. Step 1, you've already done. You're researching the national parks. You define your task, and you're creating a brochure of information to share with people. Step 2, information seeking strategies. I saw in class that many of you are already beginning to use note cards and write down your ideas on templates. And then today's lesson was just 100% step 3, locating and accessing resources for your research. All right, So I always ask students to define the word database. And yeah, most students say it is a base or a spot for data or information. And that's 100% correct. Gale Databases, you'll be using these until the day you graduate. And we have an elementary specific hub that I took students to. And I'll show you, we'll pop over there in just a second. And I show you how you can browse, you can search by topic, you can do advanced searches. There are so many really cool features. And then what I think is one of the most important features is that once you find something, with a click of a button, you can bloop, zip it straight into your Google Drive for future reference. Okay, so let's go over to our school district website. Here's what the library website, how you find it from the district webpage, just in case you need to know that. I went to the district home, clicked on more, and then on library. And if you keep scrolling down, here's all of our weekly fun content and curricular content. And then here are the Gale databases. We click on Gale. These are all the databases for the whole entire school district. So we go to elementary. And then here's our home landing page. All right. So you can just browse topics by clicking on any of these buttons. But we already know what we're researching. Everyone had an assigned topic. So then we go into the upper left-hand corner and we're doing just a very basic search. I didn't even show students the advanced search, but I'm just going to click on it. You can get really specific about what you're looking for if you want to. Otherwise, you just go to the upper left-hand corner and start typing in your topic. So we did have, I know that for sure that a couple of students were researching the Badlands, the national park, and that's from my neck of the woods where I grew up. So when you start typing in your national park name, if you get a nice curated title or bold heading like this one, just click on it. That'll be your best option. Oop, just kidding. I'm going to go back because I only got one article. Badlands. Let's see. And oh, I see some, let's see what, we're just going to stick with this for right now. So let me say something about what I just did. Oftentimes when you're researching, if you type in a topic first and you don't get what you're looking for, or it looks like there are a very minimal number of articles, which happened to me, you can peruse what you got. And if it's not useful, you may have to go back out and alter your search terms, come up with synonyms or similar words or related words to get what you're looking for. Okay, so for the Badlands, I know a lot of students are interested in also researching the animals that live at each national park. So I could do Badlands, Badlands of South Dakota, Badlands of North Dakota, Buffalo, etc. Okay, so I'm just going to stick with the page that I'm on. One other thing I pointed out to students were these are all of your types of articles or content across the top. So you have book articles, which are typically going to be encyclopedia articles, which for this project would be excellent. Magazine articles are probably the second best type to use. And then everyone needs some pictures. So you even get pictures and sometimes video clips as well. And they run across the top here, and you can just scroll down and see them this way as well. And when you're looking at them this way, and if you want to expand, like let's say I want to see all magazines, I just clicked on that. And one thing I wanted to point out to students is that the articles are leveled, and you can see that they have anywhere from 1 to 5 dots. So dots number 1 and 2 are elementary level reading. Dots number 3 is middle school, and then 4 and 5 are high school level. You can use any or all of them, but just understand some articles are a little more challenging than others. I'm going to go ahead and when I'm opening articles, I skim or read the title. And if it looks interesting, I'll open it up. If it doesn't, I'll just pass it by. This one, because it was from Cobblestone, I'm going to open that one up first because it's a lower level and it's also, you know, after a quick skim, I'm actually going to pop back out. I'm going to go back to this one. You know, it's a higher reading level, but let's just see what it looks like. Okay. Got a little bit of historical information up top, some images. I kind of like this one with all the visual images embedded inside of the article. I think this would be really great for anyone researching their topic of the Badlands. Okay, so I'm going to say, yes, I love this article. It's going to be useful for my research project. Another thing I showed students is that when you're on any computer, if you hit the control key and the F key at the same time, you get this little fancy search box that pops open in the upper right-hand corner. And you can use that. Whenever you type a word or phrase into that search box, it'll highlight whether it appears on the screen or not. So how frequently does this article talk about the Badlands? When I type that word in there, I spelled it incorrectly. This article talks about the Badlands at least 6 times, and you can see how it's highlighted for us. Okay, I use this quite a bit. Okay, does this article say anything about buffalo or bison? Ooh, it does mention buffalo or bison. Does this article say anything about other animals? No. Okay, but you see how I can use that Control F to help you skim the article at a quick glance to see if it's useful or not. That's a really useful tool, especially the older we get in high school. All right, so you can listen to your articles if you'd like. You can play around with the text. You can translate your articles, all that jazz. As you all enter maybe 5th grade for sure, when you get to the 6th grade, you will have to start citing your sources with MLA format. So that's where the MLA citation lives. And then the final step we said that was, I think, one of the most important steps is actually saving the articles to your Google Drive, right? I always call this like the hunter-gatherer phase of research. Like we're going out and scooping up as much good information as we can. And then probably next class, we're going to go back and revisit our articles and read them and highlight them and annotate them and begin to think about our project and what we're going to write or say. Okay, but in this class period, we were just trying to find as many articles as possible. Once we find them, we need to get them into our drive. So in the upper right-hand corner, you have this sign in with Google. You click that. It then asks you to select your Google account. And now I have linked up Gale to my Google Drive, and I know it was successful because I see my first name here, signed in Jennifer, okay? So then to zip this article into my Google Drive, there are always many ways you can do this, but I think this is the easiest. Right at the top where it says send to, that little paper airplane, you click it, and then you click Google Drive, and then okay. Bam, done. So the final step is, I always tell students, you have to go to your Google Drive and find the article to make sure it actually saved, because we all know we experience tech glitches now and again. So here I am at my drive. I scroll down and all articles are going to be saved in this beautiful, magically bright orange folder. And when we open that bright orange folder, our article about the Badlands is going to be in there somewhere. Oh, there it is, right up top. And when you open your article, another really super rad thing is that it's magically converted into a Google Doc, okay? And that MLA citation that we're going to need the older we get is sitting at the bottom right here. And we know that we can, as we're reading, we can make comments on Google Docs like, this fact is so amazing, I want to include it in my brochure. And we can do all the beautiful things we can with a Google Doc with our Gale database articles. All right. So that was a super quick run through of the lesson. If you have any questions at any point in time, reach out. And we also have these things called books in our library that you can check out as well for your national parks project. All right, always here to help you in the library. Thank you so much. Bye.